we are live for us, not no one else, just us.
We're live to each other.
Live to each other, right? You ready?
Nope.
Ow!
What are we? Oh,
I'm gonna try and open my thing. Is this a twist off? Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna just.
I'll be right back.
This mineral water was already open.
BRB.
Okay. I'm just gonna be here trying to do ASMR. We're gonna do some tapping for ASMR. Stan BTS ASMR. We could add a little more vodka to that. If I don't wince at first, then what's the point? There we go.
I have returned. No bottle opener.
Welcome back.
But I have a can opener. Oh, wait.
Against the mic.
Motherfucker, how do you do this?
There you go. You're getting it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah!
That was so much work.
Aw.
Get back.
You did it!
Big boy, I got Angry Orchard apple cider, but the rosé version. Let's see, is it any good? Not bad. Okay, I'll take it.
Nice.
Woo. Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
I hope you're staying safe.
Yeah, are you guys having a blast and a half? Something. Words not work. Head empty, no thoughts. Because I just refilled my prescription today. So
I don't have medication for any of my stuff anymore because I don't talk to doctors.
It's okay. It took me a few tries for this one because you get for Adderall, you need to get the written one for each month. And I kept calling. They're like, "Oh, he's not in yet." I'm like, please
leave him a note. Send an email. Fax.
So finally,
Did
they
send a pigeon?
That probably would have been faster, honestly. So if I'm a lackluster, needing polish, that is why.
And if I'm lackluster and needing polish, it's just who I am.
You're perfect the way you are.
No.
Maybe I'll get a little tipsy for some mysteries, and we'll be good. This is our fun podcast show. This is our 22nd episode. It's weird.
It's amazing.
Bonkers bananas. That's my age, so this is the Kate's age episode for now.
Kate, you're 22.
Mm-hmm. You okay there, buddy?
I'm 28.
You're 28. I have a video when Abby found out her face. She's like, "These 28?"
I was like, when did we date? I'm having a mental crisis right now. Oh my gosh. I was cheers. Had a drink.
Okay, Alex is 27. turning 27. She's gonna be turning 27. Yeah.
She's going to be 27. By the time this is out, she'll be 27.
Seriously, I was thinking about that. I'm like, did a lot of quarantine episodes. I don't know how long, because by the time we are recording this, it is May 13th. So I think quarantine is like officially gone. It's like there's soft opens, but also maybe don't go outside and wear a mask at all times.
I wear a mask when I'm walking my dog, and people always stare at me funny. And I'm like, really? Excuse me. Yeah. I'm like,
I'm the one being safe. Thank you.
I'm like, I don't know where you've been. I don't know. I don't trust no one here.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. Not my house. Yeah, this is our fun podcast show where we, your hosts, I'm Kate.
I'm V.
We're gonna tell you some fun, spooky stories. This includes, but it's not limited to, paranormal, true crime, conspiracies, cryptids, medical mysteries, Mothman's butt. Yeah, I
always Mothman's butt.
I think I covered all those. I don't know. So tell me, my dear friend, how has your not quarantine week been?
I did a lot of online shopping.
It's okay. I don't know if you saw on Twitter that shirt I retweeted, the one that has Bob from Animal Crossing, the big beefy arms that says, "May I chew on your hair?" I bought that.
I'm not surprised. I'm like, when I see that shirt, when I saw it, and when I see like the art from it, I'm just like, Kate, that's Kate.
Aww, because it's by the same artist that did the cat shirt I have. That's the buff cat, and it says, "Don't cry, you're so sexy, aha."
I love
that. If you guys
that.
need the artist, I will send you the link because I love them. Ugh, all their stuff's so good. Oh.
It's so good.
So I feel you there.
I got a burp. It's not coming out. But yeah, at first I was like, I'm just gonna buy stuff for people, and like eventually in like 7 years they'll arrive because it's taking forever for production. But you know, it's whatever.
Like we get it.
Yeah,
we get it. But also,
I was just like, I just have the time now to like look for things for people. So I'm like, okay. And like I bought so much stuff for my mom. And like Mother's Day, I just was like, Mom, I already spoiled you. And she's like, yeah, don't buy me more stuff.
My mom just wanted jumpsuits. They're still coming. Ordered them so long ago. One day they'll be here.
Oh. Been like cleaning my car. I removed most of the stickers from my car.
Oh, really?
Like, if
dude, so many stickers.
If I should probably post a picture of how many stickers I used. Yeah, if I have a picture. I don't know if I do, but like
I can sketch.
I had so many. I only kept I kept only some of the BTS ones because I was like, I love them. But like, I cleaned out my car because I'm like, I need to do something new and different. And my car was like, there was so much in there.
Yeah, it's useful stuff.
Seat covers. I bought a trash can. Buying like those seat gap things with cup holders, so like my stuff won't fall all the time. I bought an auxiliary cord to go in my new phone because it doesn't play my music on here. Oh, no. Because like when I plug it into the USB, it doesn't connect. It's like, I don't know what this is, and I'm like, how dare you?
Weird. Okay.
It's probably because my car is old. But beautiful.
That came from deep inside my soul. You're welcome.
It's beautiful. I should buy a back massager. My back has been hurting so bad. I also bought like a stationary bike, but I'm like, that's never going to arrive.
I'm so sorry. But I feel you on the back thing. Definitely like when you're sitting all day. Ugh.
I think it's mostly like the way I lay. I have to lay like an S because of my cat and my dog. Because they get cozy in bed while I'm getting ready, and I'm like, eh.
You can't move. You just can't.
You can't.
No.
They're so precious. Like, let me look at that boy.
Oh, baby boy. Oh, I miss him. Me and Alex were talking the other day. We're like, we miss his little pit pap of his feet. Just pit pap, pit pap, pit pap.
It's so cute. He's gonna
so
get a haircut soon, and I'm excited because like I tried to give him a quarantine haircut, and I was like, no, only I can have bad hair. He can't have bad hair, so I didn't.
I'm proud of you, though. You tried.
I did, but I was like, I don't want to like traumatize him, so I don't have the skills for it. I'm not gonna do it.
Just think, remember you had that one Halloween costume idea of you being Marty McFly and him being Doc. I think that'd be cute.
And like it can still happen even if I shave all of his hair off now by October, we'll be good.
Done. I think that'd be solid. Do I do anything?
I could just buy him a little lab coat.
Please. Just a little. Oh, I painted my nails. I did a rainbow, but I did it in the wrong order. So if you don't look at it too hard, it's fine. It's great.
I did my nails, but I lost my middle nail, and I swear I had it.
I think your middle finger is too powerful.
I can't find it. But I was like, I need something on my nails, or else I'll pick up my face because I have dermatillomania. So like, pick up my face if I don't have something on my fingers. And with these, I can't pick up my face.
I feel you. So I have to have mine short. So then I can't get anything.
No, like mine, if mine are like super short, I will like find a way. And if they're too long, then it's bad news. I just have to have fake plastic ones I can't do any damage with.
That works then, because if my nails are short, we always have someone that can open a can of something. So I think that works. So let's see, when did we last record?
2 weeks ago.
How much of my traumatic story do you remember?
I've been thinking about it nonstop.
Really? Yes.
But I didn't look up conspiracy theories for it because I'm like, I'm gonna learn all about it this week. So, listeners,
that's so sweet.
If this is your first time listening, this is our first two-parter that we're doing. This is the second part for Kate's story.
I am sorry.
If you want to, you should listen to the previous episode 21 first.
It was a fun one.
It's very fun, very intense. I think like it's definitely worth listening to, especially if this is the first one, because we're just just jump into what happened last time.
Like you can kind of listen to this, but
unless you already know of the story, but
that's true. Otherwise, it's like I don't think the full impact would be there, and you wouldn't be as like.
Or if you want a refresher.
Oh yes, refresher. I can give you a little refresher off the bat. So basically,
but I'm like, if you just go.
So yeah, last week started on the part 1 of the Dyotlov Pass Incident. Was not intending for it to be two-parter. I couldn't. This is again one of those mysteries that keeps me up at night. Because you want to know what happened. There's so many things, like, and it's definitely one of those ones where, like, you feel like not one theory fits it perfect, which is even more frustrating. So it's like, okay, what can it fucking be?
Yeah.
And also, last episode I said that BuzzFeed Unsolved did not do an episode. Turns out they did. It was very early on before Shane was actually on the show.
Okay, yeah.
And it was 7 minutes long, which is why I didn't remember it.
I'm like, that's not enough time for that episode.
It killed me. It killed me
for that
because
story.
I think his name was Brett, the guy that was on before Shane. Mm-hmm. He was fine. But at the end, he's like, it was an avalanche. I'm like,
that doesn't make sense at all.
I will explain how it is physically not possible for that to be an avalanche.
I'm like, I need my coffee for this before I get way too drunk.
So, if you guys don't know about the Dyotlov Pass Incident, yeah, either go back and listen to last episode. It was a fun time. I think you guys would enjoy. If y'all don't want to, I understand as well. So basically, this was an incident where 9 hikers this is in 1959 in Russia. They were all experienced, all getting their last certification. They were on their last leg of the journey, and they hiked in what is now known as the Dyotlov Pass because of this incident. They were found, I think it was it a week later? It was more than a week later.
I want to say 9 days. I don't know why.
So it was a while later until a search party went out and was able to find them. They find their tent. It's covered in a little bit of snow, and they're able to determine that it has been ripped from the inside out. Cut. So they were trying to get out. They're like, what happened? Their stuff's still in the tent. They see footprints outside. They're scattered, and then they go into a single file line.
Like a uniform line.
And basically, I'll upload the map that I think I showed you last time of the best way to kind of visualize where they were, because essentially imagine a slope. You have the tent, and at first they found 2 of the bodies a little bit farther down under a pine tree. And this was, let me go back to my original. Yes, they found Yuri Koronchenko and Yuri Doronchenko. They were both at the bottom of that pine tree. I don't think they were brothers. I don't think anybody was related.
Oh.
If I remember right.
I thought there was someone related.
I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of Yuris. So that was the John of Russia, essentially. And so they found those 2 first. Majority of those that they found had very little clothing on, no shoes, no socks. This is negative 30 degrees. They should be wearing more. Again, these are all experienced people. So they find them. They then, I would recommend listening to the last episode because there's also a lot of details on how they found the bodies.
Because that's what's really mind-boggling.
Because it's rough. It's really rough. And so then they find, kind of in a parallel line from the tree to the tent, they find 3 more bodies. So they find Igor Dyatlov, who was the leader of the expedition. They then find Zina Konagero, who was one of the 2 girls on the expedition. And they then find Rustem Slobodin, and he was another one of the guys. All of them are found with, again, little clothing. Their deaths are determined to be from hypothermia, but it would take a little bit too long to go into each of them, but they all had external injuries that could not be explained. It's weird. It's fucking weird. And it's really sad. It's the whole story. So it then takes another 2 months until the remaining 4 hikers are found. And they are found about even further down the slope in a ravine. And it's only till the snow begins to melt that they find them. And so they find the bodies of Ludmila Dubina, Semen Zorotov, Alexander Kolotov, and Nikolai Tyabu Brigadoli. I'm sorry if I butchered any of those names. There's so many names. So many Russian names. I'm sorry. So these guys were all found better dressed than the previous people. And so it suggested that they, could have taken the clothes from those that died, which would make sense. Completely understandable. These 4 were found with the most serious of injuries. And basically, one of them had a broken nose, a deformed neck. Another was found with all of his ribs on his right side broken and a wound on the side of his head. Another had major skull damage, and there's multiple fractures. And this is probably the part of the story that you would have heard of if you have sort of heard. But Dubina, she was the one that was found with 16 broken ribs, as well as her tongue was missing. So I think the tent being cut open from the inside and then the missing tongue is what people are going to remember. She was also one of the 2 that was found with radioactive clothing. And this was far higher an amount of radiation that would be it's an abnormal amount, even for somebody that works with radiation, is what a lot of experts said. They're like, it's fucking weird. And the coroner said that these force injuries could not have been caused by a weapon or fall, as like the amount of damage they had, because it was mostly internal. It would have to be caused by either a car crash or an explosion. Just high pressure. And so with that all in mind, I caught that. Are you ready for part 2? The theories.
Yes!
So I don't know if you remember, but after the bodies were found, side note, they first were found, the government got the bodies. They wanted to first take them to the nearest town and put them in a mass grave. That was their plan.
That's right.
As you can guess, the families freaked the fuck out because absolutely not. These are our children. These are our brothers and sisters. You're not going to do that. And so they're finally able to get the government to release the bodies to them so they could have their own funeral, but on the condition that they would not hold one massive one, so it wouldn't draw any publicity to it.
Yeah.
And they also had SS officers, KGB officers. My bad. They had KGB officers at all of these funerals, like stationed there, which was not normal. It wasn't. And it was rough. Those that saw the bodies, that knew the people beforehand, they said they looked really, really rough. Their skin was really red, like almost a brick red, and they couldn't explain it. They're like, it's bad. It's bad. So I can't even imagine seeing her going through that, but officially the report listed the words no work, head empty, no thought. The cause of the incident was officially listed as an avalanche, or overwhelming force. And it was left at that. Though everyone's like, how do you explain all these other things with this thing?
Yeah.
So this is where we get into the theories. And you'll see why I need a second episode for this bad boy. So right off the bat, I want to say that these guys were all tough as shit. Like, I would not want to fuck with these guys. I would want to be their best friends, honestly. They all knew what they were doing, and they would not make any reckless decisions or mistakes. Granted, they were all college students. Like, the youngest was 20, and the oldest was 38, who was an instructor. But they were all around 20 to 24, give or take.
Yeah.
But again, this is 1959. These guys, they're really strong. They're really tough. I just really want to emphasize that because some things I've seen online have made me mad. They're like, I think they just were being shitty. I'm like, no. These guys were...
I'm like, if they were trying to pass their last certification for this kind of stuff, like, they wouldn't just be fucking around.
Exactly. And so, like, even on one previous expedition, one of them ran off a bear. Like, thank you. Like, you wouldn't fuck with these guys. Right? Like, who?
I'm like, which one?
I know.
Like, I'm gonna start scanning.
I personally like to imagine it was, like, Ludmina, but that's just me. I just imagine her, like, charging a bear, but...
It's crazy.
So, yeah, all these brave hikers, they were looking forward to this trip, again, to get that certification. And they were excited to, like, move on to that next chapter in their lives, because they're about to graduate, what have you. And they absolutely did not deserve what happened to them. And what occurred was an unmistakable tragedy. So, I just want to preface that, personally. So, as I kind of alluded, the official statement for closing the case was given by the lead investigator, Lev Ivanov. And I just want to quote what was said, because... No. So,
how well is this going to connect with the actual story and everything that happened?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
So, quote, the deaths of the expedition members were due to a series of mistakes by Dyotlov. Considering the absence of external injuries to the bodies or signs of a fight, the presence of all valuables of the group, and also taking into account the conclusion of the medical examinations for the causes of the deaths of the hikers, it is concluded that the cause of their demise was an overwhelming force which the hikers were not able to overcome. So basically they're saying that Igor Dyatlov put them in a compromising position and then nature took them out. I'm going to tell you why that is not the case. I'm gonna admit my bias right off the bat. That's not the fucking case. I did so many hours of research for this one.
I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like they would make a comment. Like, they wouldn't make such a big mistake.
No, again, like, these guys were trying to keep up morale, and I think I told you last episode how on one part of their journey, I can't remember which member it was, but he had this almost little guitar they play and they would sing songs, and it was just a really good time. And at one point, they had to start carrying less stuff, and so he made that decision to leave the guitar. And so I think that just, again, really sets into place what their priorities were.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. So, the most common theory put forward and accepted at the time was the avalanche theory. It was stated that the hikers could have heard the loud rumbling of an oncoming avalanche, and in a hurry cut themselves out of the tent in an attempt to get to safety, only to get lost in the night and die from exposure. I said, sure.
Yeah.
So evidence contracting from this includes, so the location of the incident did not have any obvious signs of avalanche having taken place. Oof. An avalanche would have left certain patterns and debris distributed over a wide area. The bodies were found within a month of the event. The bodies found within a month of the event were covered with a very shallow layer of snow. And if there had been an avalanche, it would have just swept them all away, basically. Because I don't know if you've heard, but like trying to find people in an avalanche is really fucking hard. It's tricky. So these bodies just would have been swept away. This also would have caused more serious and different injuries in that process, and would have damaged the tree line as well, which was undamaged. Also, their tent was like, you can look at pictures. It was like maybe you shoveled like some handfuls of snow on it. It was nothing like an avalanche. And then Dyatlov, he was an experienced skier, and the much older Zolotov, the one that's 38, he was studying for his master's certificate in ski instruction and mountain hiking. So neither of these two men would have been likely to camp anywhere in the path of a potential avalanche. So, also the angle that the slope is at, I can't remember the specifics because I'm a dum-dum and I didn't write it down. But it's physically impossible for an avalanche to take place there, essentially. The angle they were at, it wouldn't
work out.
So, if anyone tells you it was an avalanche, be like, actually. And they would have known the sound of an avalanche, too. So it's just, I'm debunking that theory right here now. It's nada. So our next theory is infrasound. This one's interesting. So another hypothesis is that wind going around the mountain created a Kármán vortex street, which is a repeating pattern of swirling vortexes, which can produce infrasound capable of inducing panic attacks in humans. According to the theory, the infrasound generated by the wind as it passes over the top of the mountain. So the way the mountain is, the theory goes that wind passing around it creates this vortex, and that creates infrasound. And this would have been responsible for causing physical discomfort and mental distress in the hikers, as infrasound has been known to cause nausea, blinding headaches, and even aggressive behavior. So the theory claims that because of their panic, the hikers were driven to leave the tent by whatever means necessary, and fled down the slope. By the time they were further down the hill, they would have been out of the infrasound's path and would have regained their composure, but in the darkness would have been unable to return to their shelter. The traumatic injuries suffered by the 3 victims were the result of stumbling over the ledge of the ravine in the darkness and landing on the rocks at the bottom. A, the coroner literally said that their injuries could not have happened from a fall, and B, this doesn't explain the radiation.
Nope.
Also, it wouldn't affect every single person the same way is another factor with it.
Yeah.
And so that one doesn't make sense to me. Like, it sounds good at first, but you're like, no. So,
like, especially to imagine how far those other 4 had went.
Seriously.
Or other 3 had went compared to the other 4.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the damage that they've happened to their bodies, like, it doesn't sound very plausible for me.
You don't get 16 broken ribs from falling down a ravine.
You don't lose your tongue like that.
No, you don't. Also, they were, missing their eyes.
Yeah, the
eyelids and eyebrows. Though that could be explained by the water near the ravine kind of eroding away. Still horrifying, though. I don't recommend looking at pictures because they will stay with you.
I feel like it would take a little while longer than they were down there for that to completely do that.
It's weird. This whole story is so weird. So, next theory. Hikers being mistaken for escaped prisoners. So, one private investigator who spoke to a former serviceman in the area said that the hikers could have been killed after being mistaken for escaped prisoners from the local Gulag prison camps. Siberia at the time of the tragedy was still a land of Gulag, and many political prisoners were released in 1953 and 56, but criminals were still behind bars. Many small concentration camps were dispersed all over the region. The closest was Ilvadag, situated just a few miles from the site of the tragedy. So this theory can actually tie into another one that I'll get to a little bit later, with like other military involvement. But yeah, essentially gulags are like small concentration camps. They're awful. Labor camps.
Yeah.
But for political prisoners, so it's not great. So, next theory.
But didn't they they only found like the tracks for only the hikers though? Like their feet tracks only? So unless like they covered specifically only their tracks after they realized what happened, like that makes no sense. Because wouldn't you want to remove everything so like no one could figure out what exactly happened?
That kind of goes into the other theory a bit. Like, and that's the thing with this case is that there's so many things that could be, and then it's just, again, you stay up till 2 a.m. And then you get out your tarot cards and you're like, tell me what happened, which I'll get into later. So, our next theory is the Yeti. Mind you, I believe in the Yeti, sure. I don't. So one theory that has remained a fan favorite somehow is that the hikers were the victims of a Yeti attack. Proponents of this theory state that a Yeti could have found the hikers' campsite and when investigating could have blocked the opening of the tent, causing the hikers to cut themselves out and flee from the creature. Theorists cite Dubina's missing tongue as evidence of a Yeti ripping it out, as well as crushing chest injuries found on some of the victims. I don't believe this one. The only footprints found, as you said, were those of the 9 hikers. And I don't think Yetis can leave dangerous amounts of radiation. And I think I'm pretty sure I said last episode that they were able to tell that Dubina's tongue had been taken out while she was still alive due to the amount of blood in her stomach. So.
That's right, yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, okay, I think it was like animals scavenging for it after, but more likely than not. So, next theory. Military tests. You ready? So, speculation exists that the campsite fell within the path of a Soviet parachute mine exercise. The theory alleges that the hikers, woken by loud explosions, fled the tent in a shoeless panic and found themselves unable to return to the tent. After some members froze to death attempting to endure the bombardment, others commandeered their clothing only to be fatally injured by subsequent parachute mine concussions. So, what's interesting about these is that there are indeed records of parachute mines being tested by the Soviet military in that area around the time that the hikers were there. And people around in the area that lived nearby, they knew about these. They were essentially, imagine like a little bomb on a parachute, floats down, and it kind of explodes in midair. And they're just doing testing with that.
Yeah.
So, they would detonate in the air rather than when they struck the Earth's surface, and produce signature injuries similar to those experienced by the hikers. So heavy internal damage and comparably less external trauma. Because that's one big thing, is that they barely had like any external
like scratch wounds, or
like they had some, but not
like it's not as extreme as it could have been if they were like something like head on straight, like attacking them.
Exactly. So it's just like, that's why the coroner said either car accident or explosion. So just remember that. So the theory coincides with reported sightings of glowing orange orbs floating or falling in the sky within the general vicinity of the hikers, and allegedly photographed by them. So potentially military aircraft or descending parachute mines. They got pictures of, is what the theory says. Because they were able to recover the camera after they found the victims. And there was some, there's one shot, I can't remember which one it is, but it just had kind of weird orbs on it. And so people are like, was that military
was that the
weapons?
bombs?
Or, you know.
And it also would explain, like, if that was the reason why the government's so hush-hush about what actually happened.
Right.
And they're like, we have to be very, like, specific about what happens and, like, who's going to be there and who can find out what's happening and be at the funerals and whatnot.
Exactly, because they kept the case open for, it was less than a month, and they're like, nope, shut, done, bye-bye. So that's fun. This theory, among others, uses scavenging animals to explain Dubina's injuries and tongue. And then a similar theory alleges that rather than parachute mines, there was testing of radiological weapons. In a similar fashion, and this could have caused the hikers to experience distress and then flee into the night. And then if it was actually radioactive weapons they're testing, that would explain the clothing that they had that was radioactive. That seems more likely to me.
But it still doesn't explain the tongue.
Still doesn't explain the tongue. Don't you even worry. Don't you even worry.
Or the eyes.
I got you. So the next theory that was also popular at the time was that they were attacked by Mansi or other local tribesmen. This is bullshit, because the local tribesmen were known to be peaceful and there was no tracks or evidence of anyone approaching the tent. And like I think it said last episode as well that these guys even they offered to help the hikers when they saw them. And when people would be hiking, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you guys want to go like hunting over there? There's better game out there." Like the Mansi were chill. And I don't like that the people were like, "We think it was them." Because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Nope. Oh, this is interesting. So next theory is that the mountain itself is cursed. So there are some that believe that the deaths of the hikers was due to the curse of the mountain. And this is actually a little weird. It's a little weird. So interestingly enough, there is a weird connection between the number 9 and the mountain itself. So going all the way back to Mansi folklore, there is a legend about 9 hunters that all died violently while on the mountain. And moving forward back to modern day, in 1991, there was a plane crash near the site that resulted in the deaths of 9 people. So I thought that was kind of spooky. I was like, So next theory. They were attacked and chased by wildlife. No. There was no animal tracks, and the group would have not abandoned the security of their tent if something was trying to get in. Again, it's a thick canvas tent, which is
it was like a military grade tent.
It was, which is also weird because that would have taken a lot of strength and effort to cut out of it. So,
like, why would you cut out of your tent to go out where there's an animal trying to attack you?
Exactly. And I think I said it last episode too, but they found that the zipper still worked. It was zipped up and it was locked. So they could have, in theory, used the zipper, but they did not. So it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Another theory that was actually popular at the time as well was that high winds blew away one member and the others attempted to rescue that person. So I could see how someone could think that, but a large experienced group would not have behaved like this. And winds around the area were not strong enough to blow people away with such a force that would have also, blown away the tent, so to speak. So
yeah,
that one doesn't make as much. That also doesn't explain missing tongue and radiation as well. That's just me. Ooh, this is an interesting one. So next theory is that there was an altercation at the pass. Okay, ready? You ready? So
I'm ready.
Another theory that has been brought forth is that a fight could have broken out at the site, most likely between the hikers. According to this theory, the hikers, possibly Dyatlov and Kuroshenko, could have had a disagreement, most likely a dispute involving a love triangle between them and Zina, and this could have led to a fight in the tent. One of them could have pulled out a knife in an attempt to stab the other, ended up missing and cutting the tent instead. The rest of the hikers could have fled trying to get away from the fight and ended up getting lost soon after. Those in favor of this scenario cite the injuries to Dyatlov's fists and jaw as evidence, because the coroner said he had been in a fist fight due to his injuries on his fists, and he had blood in his mouth and was missing his lower incisor. I'm going to tell you why I don't believe this one.
I'm like, that one just sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
So this is the thing. This is
not just because I'm gay, but
cheers. So this theory is pretty much bullshit, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only. I believe it is because it's highly unlikely, as all of the hikers were staunch communists, as this is, Cold War era Soviet Union. Makes sense. And as such, they were a harmonious group together. So Yuri Gudin, which, if you guys didn't listen to the last episode, there was originally 10. Yuri had some joint problems, and so he actually had to leave the expedition early. And he was the only surviving member of the group. And he was later able to come in and identify some of the items and everything. So he later said in an interview that they all liked each other and they liked the girls, and some of them even had crushes. It was all normal, but to do anything about that was unthinkable, and it was unheard of. You wouldn't do it. So, for example, let's say that Dyatlov gets together with Zina. Something goes down, and so their first thought would be to get each other to safety rather than the rest of the group. And so this would have been a big no-no, because that's the mindset you don't want to be in. You want to make sure that everyone's okay. And that makes sense.
Yeah. You don't want to prioritize one over the other.
No.
You want everyone to be taken care of.
Exactly. So fighting would not have occurred. There would have been no reason to. I don't think there's also no drugs present, and the only alcohol they had was a small flask of medicinal alcohol. And a fight would not have left the massive injuries that some of the victims suffered. So
yeah,
again, these guys knew what they were doing, experienced. They wouldn't have gotten in a petty fight.
I feel like if anything, they'd be like, once this is done and over with, then we're going to deal with this.
Yeah, you wouldn't have it at the site, on the side of a mountain in negative 30-degree weather while you're all together in a tent. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Unless no one's sleeping with someone, and then you find out because they're doing it right then and there. But you're with
you're all
8 other people. You're with 7 other people.
There's 9 people in one tent.
Yeah, there's no need for anything to happen in that time. You're it's awkward as fuck. No.
So I don't like that one. I think again, these guys knew what they were doing. This is the hill I will die on. No pun intended. These guys, they were all friends. They all would have. I can't stress that enough.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. So Next theory. Another popular one. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
UFOs.
Aliens?
Have you been here before? Have you been on this podcast before? So
Maybe.
So another popular theory claims that a UFO scared the group away. This theory claims that either by accident or on purpose, the hikers were victims of an alien visit gone wrong or were abducted for testing. Those who believe in this theory say that the hikers' footprints, which started out erratic and then formed that single file, could have been caused by a trance-like state, and that the hikers were then taken by these extraterrestrials for observation and harvesting, as 3 of them were missing their eyes, as you said, and Dubina was missing her tongue. Lev Ivanov, the man who was in charge of the case, he actually made a statement during the investigation that he noticed that the tops of the nearby pine trees were burned at the top.
Huh.
Yeah. Just the tops were burned. And this was near the end of the slope. So really fucking weird. He also
kind of like close to the ravine area where the 3 that were like the most intense with the radiation were found.
So weird, right? He also claimed that members of the Soviet Congress, along with his advisors, forced Ivanov to take out any reference to unknown flying objects or other strange phenomena in his report. So he wasn't allowed to write anything about the glowing orbs that were reported or, weird happenings.
They're like, it was bombs.
Like, hypothermia. Check. So I don't know this one, honestly. It sounds as likely as the other theories and the sheer level of trauma and violence that the victim suffered. It doesn't seem to fall in line with how UFO and abduction cases usually go. As dumb as that sounds, in my opinion, I think aliens see us as, test subjects. So kind of like if you are...
I feel like they wouldn't want to like mess with us as much as they want to observe us.
Like the best example I saw was someone saying, okay, when you're you work with animals, you tag a lion in the wild. So you use a tranquilizer, you tag them, and they wake up and they don't know anything's happened. They're like, that was fucking weird, okay.
Yeah.
And then you track them. So that makes sense to me personally. So, it could explain radiation. I'm 50-50 on this one. It depends.
Have you seen how the U.S. government put out those videos of UFOs recently? And no one gave a shit about it because they're like, it's 2020. Everything is falling apart.
Listen, we
don't care about the UFOs anymore.
We missed a good 420 and then this. Did we already talk about 420?
I don't know.
Did I tell what happened on 420 to me?
No.
Okay, so I took to the government listening, this is fake. May or may not have taken
This is a joke.
It's a joke. Had partaken in a edible, a fun brownie, if you will, of sorts. As you do. And so I went to bed. I was out around 3 a.m., I want to say. Again, when you're in that state, you're dead asleep. Something woke me up. I wake up and I feel something on my arm and I feel a hand touching my face by my mouth. I'm like, excuse me? And in the state I am in, the only thing I can do is throw my arm up and say, fuck off. And that was the most Danny Phantom bullshit I could think of. So that was fun.
I didn't do anything for 420.
You didn't get haunted by a ghost seeing if you're awake at 3 a.m.? Be like, you up? I'm bored. Come on.
I think I made a lotion.
you make lotion?
No, I had some oils left over from an old, I had some oils that I just mixed into a lotion. And so I just was like, I'm gonna just rub this on my neck, because like my neck for like 2 weeks straight, I had like these 2 giant trigger points, or like these most chronic knots that like brought pain down my spine.
Do you also
or down
hold
my
like
neck.
all your stress there?
Oh yeah, it's like where a lot of people hold it, because of the way that we hold ourselves usually. So like the traps, this area, like from your head, it makes like a T shape almost, because it goes down your shoulders and then it makes like a curve down like the middle of your spine. And I think it's your most superficial muscle. I can't remember. I haven't taken anatomy in so long. And I was a massage therapist 9 years ago.
Was that 9 years ago?
Yeah. And people to this day still keep asking me to massage them, and I'm like, nope.
Sorry guys, if you hear a fan on in the background, that's me. It got too toasty in here.
I feel that. It's like, it's so weird, because like this weekend also on the East Coast, they got this giant cold front. So like, it's like, it was like practically snowing in New York, and like it's freezing down just the East Coast. And here I'm just like, it's too hot. I'm sweating.
Do you think we're going to remember 2020, or are we as a collective just going to repress everything? Like our grandkids are going to be like, oh, hey, what happened in this year? I'm doing it for my homework. And then, you know, some like World War II veterans where they just like stare off and they're like,
grandkids.
Kids that randomly come up to you for their homework. I don't know.
When my nephews, if they have children,
your grandnephews will come up to you.
They'll be like, remember that time? And I'm like, excuse me, who are you? Like, I'm too drunk for this. Like where did you come from?
You can ask me about anything, but there are 2 years we do not speak of, 2016 and 2020. They're like, what happened? Nothing.
What happened 2016?
Prince died. David Bowie died. Got president.
Alan
Rickman died. Prince died again.
I lived with Danny back then. It's a really bad year if you die twice. In
my heart.
I lived with Danny in 2016.
That was so long
ago. That's when we dated.
That's
2016.
Right. Was that 2016? So long
ago. I think it was 2016.
And I think so, right?
Yeah.
The passage of time will never cease to amaze me.
I'm like, it's weird.
So we had aliens and we had 420, and 2020 took it from us.
Yeah. 420 was supposed to be all of April.
That was supposed to be such a good month.
I was supposed to see a band on 420.
I was supposed to go to the Queen Mary.
That's right.
And the next month I was supposed to be in Alcatraz.
I think like the week after. So it was like last week. I was supposed to be in California and see BTS. And yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of when I saw BTS.
Has it been a
year? In Chicago.
Yes. When you froze to death and now my co-host is a ghost?
Yes. Yes. A year ago today, I slept the whole day away because I literally came from the concert. It was pouring rain. The whole 7 hours I was outside. I did not move from my spot. I just let it rain on me. I was like, I can't miss a moment of this. I got on a bus. I went in a giant group. I just shoved myself in the middle to steal all their body heat. Followed this group going towards the buses, got on a bus, went on a train, had a cigarette outside downtown while it was pouring rain. Then I went to the hotel, put all my clothes in a dryer, and I went to the airport. and then came home and slept for like 17 hours. Or like 12.
When can we go on a
20.
road trip? That'd be fun.
We should go on one soonish. Eventually.
I don't think I can get Alex to go to Arizona in summer, which, fair.
We can go to LA.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I'd be down.
I just want to go to Koreatown.
Can I drag you into all the haunted places, and then you can experience the same thing Alex experiences whenever we go on ghost hunts or paranormal tours, where the tour guide will be like, oh, here's this thing, and then I'm like, actually...
Yes!
That happened in San Francisco. The tour guide is talking about Jim Jones, and he's like, and then they had Kool-Aid. I'm like... And Alex is like, oh no, he's got to say Flavor Aid. It's a fearful experience being on a tour with me. Fun fact.
I'm excited because then I can just bring my K-pop stuff and be like, I don't care, look at these boys.
You bring the dolls. Some spirit inhabits the doll.
No, only BTS can haunt my dolls. Okay. I already told you. Only BTS.
Only BTS. Deal. Gotcha. Where were we? I guess this is our paranormal true crime podcast. Our theories.
Yes.
So aliens. IDK.
Aliens.
IDK with that one. Moving
They're
on.
not usually like that, so
usually like that.
Who knows?
I could be completely wrong.
Maybe
though.
It's a different type of aliens.
I have heard that theory, so it could be aliens. I'm 50-50. I think is where
I think it could be like a mixture of different things, like depending on people's stances on like what's going on with aliens, what they think about aliens, like if like the government is hiding them and like working with us, and then like something happened and they're like they know too much, or like the government's like not okay with what's happened, so they like bombed them and like killed them to try to hide so they don't like tell anyone what happened.
You know, I need to ask my family member that's in the military about this one. Because I told him, like, he was on the phone with my mom, and I was like, hey, what happened to MH370? He's like, I'll have to look into it. I'm like, let me know. Call back.
I'm like, you have to talk to me about that when there's no internet connection, no home
we don't have
devices.
We don't have any of those. We don't have a Google or Alexa.
Okay, you're lucky, because every time I see my Google Home, I think of that time it like read us that Bible verse while we were like recording.
That was spooky. That was episode 2. So I was I was telling about the EVPs at Mountain Meadows Massacre site. That's right.
And then it just started telling me a Bible verse, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. And then I'll like also like put my we gotta like turn off all of our electronic devices. Go out into the middle of the wilderness and talk about it.
Can we bring the spirit box out in the wilderness?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Are you ready for our next theory?
Yes.
Ball lightning. So, me too, buddy. Me too. This one's I'll say. So this theory is one of many weather-related scenarios, as ball lightning is an unexplained atmospheric electrical phenomena. Say that 5 times fast. I can't because I had a lisp as a child. The term
I have a speech impediment.
The term refers to reports of luminous spherical objects which vary in diameter. It is usually associated with thunderstorms, but lasts considerably longer than the split-second flash of a lightning bolt. So it is a real phenomena. It's fucking weird. But according to this theory, the group fled from the tent due to an occurrence of ball lightning getting very close to the tent and hovering there, melting the snow beneath to create a hotspot. The group then hurried to the tree line and lit a fire whilst they waited for the object to disappear. The hikers would have then died in 2 groups in separate areas, both as a result of being struck by lightning. I said I don't buy this one because I don't think lightning can break 16 ribs. And I Googled it, and it said it cannot break 16 ribs. So, did my fucking research.
Also,
it's bright.
Wouldn't you be safer staying inside of your tent with lightning instead of going underneath a tree and then building a fire Why would you wouldn't go underneath the?
Thank you.
Would you? No.
Thank you.
What? Would you? No, I wouldn't go underneath the tree.
Mm-mm.
Like,
welcome to my entire fucking time of researching this case. Frustrating.
There's no point in you cutting open the tent and losing your tongue and breaking 16 of your ribs because of lightning.
Nope.
Or your eyeballs.
Or your eyeballs. Nope.
Need your eyeballs.
Need your eyeballs. So, yeah, on a scale of 0 to 0, that's a 0 for me.
That's a 0 for me.
0 for me. Moving on. Next theory is the stove. This one's actually interesting. So, one of the less theatrical theories states that the hikers left the tent due to the smoke from the stove. And so they used a stove for cooking every night they were there, and they had it inside the tent, and they had an exhaust pipe that went outside. So the problem with this theory is that they wouldn't need to go a mile down the hill to escape smoke in the tent. Even if they thought it could be on fire in the tent, they wouldn't need to go so far from it. And they also could have easily put it out with all the snow around them. And it would have easily been remedied by opening up the tent and ventilating it.
With the zipper.
And they wouldn't abandon their tent without their shoes and their coats as well. Another weakness of the... Right.
I'm like, no logic in
No
this.
logic. So, and then another weakness is that there was consistent reports by witnesses and investigators that the stove was unassembled and still in its case. So, because there was one person that was investigating that did bring up the point of, I think it was a prior expedition, but you could see it on the photos from this expedition, that one of the members had burn marks on their coat that was caused from the stove catching on fire.
If they could have probably just used that coat to, like,
put it out.
To put out the fire. That's the word I was looking for.
There we go.
I don't put out, so I don't use that word often. I'm so lonely. No.
Oh, buddy, don't you worry. We'll have a road trip.
Why are we having a road trip for that?
We'll find you BTS. Sorry, we'll find you Mamamoo. We'll find you Mamamoo, my bad.
Wee-in, if you're listening.
We have fun on the show. We had a fun time.
Solar,
Never change. So I'm not buying the stove theory, personally. Next one. Menthol poisoning. Are you ready? This theory states that the erratic behavior of the hikers could have been due to menthol poisoning. Menthol. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Methanol,
thank you.
I don't know words either.
Lisp as a child is the excuse I'm going to use for everything. But I have
English is my second language, and I have a speech impediment.
And we have a podcast. We're doing great.
If we can do it, you can do it.
That should literally be our slogan for anything. Guys, literally, if you want to have a podcast, you can do it. If these two dum-dums can put out episodes, you can do it.
I thought our slogan was gay and sweaty because we're gay and sweaty.
I'm spaghetti. Gay and sweaty, if we can do it, you can do it. Boom.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, this theory states that the behavior of the hikers could have been due to methanol poisoning. There we go. Symptoms may include a decreased level of consciousness, poor coordination, vomiting, and abdominal pain. Toxicity and death may even occur after drinking a small amount. So, fans of this theory point out to the hikers' behavior as their main kind of proponent of this. And so they point out that the cutting the tent from the inside, that could have been due to a decreased level of consciousness, poor coordination, and going down the slope alongside each other instead of behind each other, i.e. holding hands, could have been from blindness. This could have occurred as everybody knows that hikers carry alcohol for medicinal purposes, which they sometimes drink in small quantities to warm up, which makes sense. So since alcohol at this time was very hard to find, it is possible that one of the group members could have gotten some bootleg alcohol that contained methanol rather than ethanol. And I looked into this too. It was like a weird restriction that was happening in Russia at that time, where it was just it was harder to get. So I think kind of prohibition, but not as extreme.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, it's just regulated. Like, the regulations for it are very strict.
Exactly. So if you're a college student, it was tricky to get. So at the scene, a flask.
Like when you're a high school kid and all you can get is Everclear. When you're in high school and that's all you can get for like $10 for like the tiny bottle, and you're like,
where the fuck were you getting Everclear from? That shit is shoe polish.
I was 17.
How did you get Everclear?
I hung out with a lot of... It was a tough time for me, okay? That's why I don't like drinking as much. Because I think back to those days where I'd just be like in shorts in the middle of the, like winter and snow. But I wouldn't even feel it because I was so drunk off of Everclear.
Buddy, we need to take you to some bars and make some better memories. How about that? How about concerts? Concerts with a little drinky. Okay, let's do that.
I do that all the time.
We'll just do more of that. Boom. So, yeah, ethanol.
It won't take away those thoughts. But so they had methanol.
It'll soften the blow. How about that? So, so at the scene, a flask with alcohol was found, and they were able to determine the alcohol had been in the container by the smell, but they were unable to tell if it was vodka or another form of alcohol. So it was empty, but they smelled it, and they're like, woo, this bitch empty, but we can't eat it because it's evidence.
Yeet it to the evidence box.
So it could have played out like this. The group drank alcohol from the flask to warm themselves up, but it turned out to be methanol, and they were then blinded, and there was a panic that caused them to cut the tent. They then would have run down the hill without the ability to see and died from the elements. This still doesn't explain the massive injuries and radiation, but okay, I guess.
I feel like if I went blind, I would just want to stay still.
Right?
I'm not going anywhere. I just want to feel people's hands, hold on to them, maybe cuddle a little bit, and just be like, don't let me go.
Don't let me go. Like, you wouldn't... That's the biggest thing. Is like what caused them to leave the safety of the tent.
Yeah. That's like the biggest thing I'm trying to figure out is like all of these scenarios. I'm just like,
because they were getting ready for bed. They were probably asleep. They were all in their jammies.
Yeah.
They had to get out fast was the problem. Mm-hmm. So, are you ready for our last theory?
Yes.
Last theory is that it could have been special forces. Another theory suggests that the students stumbled upon a military testing area and were either killed by Soviet soldiers protecting the area or were scared into fleeing by the sounds of nearby explosions. So one version of the theory goes that the reason for the elimination of the whole group could have been that Dyotlov was spotted taking photos of a possible top-secret military weapon or operation. Because, again, they were within that area, and that would have been plausible.
That makes sense.
The military officers could have realized that the photos had been taken and sent men back to find the group and do whatever it took to bring back the cameras and their photos back. These men could have found the hikers' camp on the mountain slope late at night and ordered them out of the tent, most likely at gunpoint. And so this theory goes that they cut out of the tent because they're being held at gunpoint. They're trying to, for every reason, the zipper's not working, maybe. They're freaking the fuck out.
So scared, yeah.
Yeah, like, if you're, in your pajamas and someone's holding you at gunpoint, being like, get the fuck out of the tent, you're gonna get out of the tent. So I could see that being a bit more plausible. And so these men would have found, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so they were probably met with resistance by the group who did not understand what was happening. That would have been terrifying. And the fact that they cut themselves out could have been again in haste, while being threatened with gunfire. And then upon emerging out of the tent, the hikers could have run down the hill and attempt to escape. Like, they can't get us all at once, so kind of just scatter as far as we can.
Yeah.
And, but then we're either caught and killed by the men, most likely incapacitated and left to die from exposure, or could have been later injured by possible weapon testing in the area. As, again, the explosion could explain the injuries to the 4 victims that were found in the ravine. There's even speculation that one of the reasons for Dyubina's tongue missing is that it could have been cut out if she was talking back to them in defiance. That is a possible thing. If you read, so they have their diaries that you could read, and they're really interesting. They were feisty. Again, these were, young college students, tough as shit. They wouldn't have taken anything laying down, in my opinion. That's just what it feels like to me. So that could have happened.
Especially depending on what they saw and, like, what they found.
Seriously. Like,
that could have definitely, like, made them, like, think of the way that they want to, like, retaliate and fight back. But also, I feel like you'd also be, like, so scared. And, like, sometimes you don't really think when you're scared. And you might just say something that just, like, pisses someone else off so much they'll cut your tongue off.
Yeah, so.
Tongue out.
That makes more sense to me personally. And then also with this theory, they say that after eliminating the hikers, the military men could have cleared the area and using broad skis would have been able to cover their tracks. And so my guess is that in Russia, this could have been a skill that was more honed in, given if you're in that environment with a lot of snow, that would make more sense to me personally as a skill to have. So while this theory sounds a little far-fetched, it is important to note that both at the time of the incident and for decades after, both Yuri Yudin and the families of the victims have stated that they believe that there was at least some military involvement. So day one, they're like, no, it's not a fucking avalanche. We do think the KGB had something to do with this. And even Igor Dyotlov's sister had said in an interview that after the tragedy, her parents had always told her that they had no doubt in their minds that the death of their son was in fact caused by the military. So they died believing this. And Yuri Yudin, he actually went on with his life holding a similar belief and often stating that he believed the deaths of his friends occurred because they, quote, saw something that they shouldn't have. Makes more sense to me. And I can't remember if I said this last episode, but in February of 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation into the incident, hoping to stop the speculation. Although only 3 possible explanations were being considered. A, an avalanche. B, a snow slab avalanche. Or C, a hurricane. So the possibility of a crime has been discounted.
That's sketchy.
It's really sketchy.
That the government's just like, we're going to reopen this just to show that it had nothing to do with us.
It's so ridiculous.
Put it on something that physically couldn't have happened.
Again, there's too many weird instances, again, with wanting to dispose of the victims' bodies that hastily, being that prominent at all the funerals, wanting to sweep everything under the rug as quickly as they could.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only explanation that makes sense.
And trying to like keep it out of the public's eyes for so long.
So, as I alluded to before, my burp. I wonder if I can pull a picture. I did. It was a late night. I'm like, I can't sleep. Tarot card time it is. And so I pulled what I did. Very creative of me, I might add. Creative, not creative. Is I sat down. I took a sticky notepad. I wrote down different occurrences that could have happened. So I wrote down avalanche, UFO, military involvement, weapon testing, and in-group altercation. I did it twice. Both times for the avalanche, I think it was the 8 of Wands upright. And I pulled a similar card when I did the second time. And so that basically meant fast action done. And that to me meant, like, again, sweeping it under the rug, citing it as an avalanche as fast as they did. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what I got else. Basically, in my opinion, I think that there was military testing being done in the area. I think that they could have been scared out of the tent, possibly, by the sounds of explosions. That, to me, would make sense with the haste and getting out without grabbing anything. Or grabbing very little. If you think a bomb's going to go off in the area, that human instinct would kick in, and you would want to get out. And I think that the military could have seen what happened, and they could have come in and kind of cleaned things up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I think it's definitely, like, the military was definitely involved in it. It sounds like it's very possible, like, that they were testing something there, that, like, and like, there might have been proof that, like, they might have saw it and took and, like, photograph evidence that something was happening.
And again,
like, they were testing, like,
during the Cold War
weapons. Yeah. And so then they took them out because of that. I think that's most likely the most plausible answer that we have. Aliens might be a thing too. I don't know.
I mean, I think whatever the case, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh,
which
definitely.
Really sucks.
I think that if they weren't in that spot, that they would have survived. Mm-hmm. I think that if they stayed on their trail, that they would have survived. But I think that they just are at the wrong place at the wrong time, saw something they shouldn't have, and the government was like, we gotta take them out.
Gotta take them out. So I think that's where I stand. Again, it was not an in-group altercation. It's really interesting about this one, especially because depending on who you talk to, those seem to be the two most plausible as either, again, military or alien. And I even watched another terror reading that was, her conclusion was that it was alien involvement. But she also she said that they fought tooth and nail till the end, which I also believe.
Yeah.
Again, they wouldn't have taken anything lightly, taken anything lying down. They wouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't think they would have just, like, let them do what they wanted. No.
Well, I think that concludes the draining two-part story of the Dyotlov Pass Incident. If you guys want to look more into that, I highly recommend it. Again, it's a case that's fascinated me for fucking ever, and I wanted to do it right, just because there's so much with it.
Yeah, there is a lot in that.
You can't get through it in 7 minutes. Just saying.
No.
Just saying.
I'm like, just the theories took us about almost an hour, so. Just the theories.
That was only some of the theories. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Again, it was not a Yeti. It was not a Yeti.
There would have been footprints.
There was
It wouldn't have been the burnt marks on top of the trees.
No. And so I think that could have been caused by weapon testing, personally. So
yeah,
could be an alien.
That could have been the weapon. Yeah, it could have been either or. Like, if it was aliens involved, I think the government would have known about it too, and they were trying to hide that. If it was just weapon testings, the government would be trying to hide that. So
you're right. Maybe it was both.
Like, it's very possible that it could be a combination of things, but it's shady.
It's shady. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of
the story?
The story.
I think it was a 10 out of 10. Oh, my back.
Thank you. Two-parters are exhausting. Sleeping. I don't know when I'll do that again.
I think our Ted Bundy one's going to be a two-parter.
Oh, yeah. I know for sure Skinwalker Ranch. Amelia Earhart, most likely, just because.
You're going to have a lot to say.
Ding, ding, ding. See, can we pause really fast so I can grab some food?
Yeah, I'm going to go pee and do my thing, so.
And we're back. We're back. Surprise!
I'm full.
I ate
I'm
a
so
hot dog
full.
really fast.
I don't even know why. I'm just like full of juice and vodka.
I want pancakes.
Who just came in your room?
That was me last night. I always forget how hungry I get when no Adderall.
Aww. It's the boy.
Are you gonna stay in or are you gonna stay out?
Is he gonna meow?
Look who it is.
No.
My son.
No meows.
My son. Hi, handsome. Are you gonna go on the mic?
Ugh. I've got my own.
No meows?
We've got our cats.
Look at Charlie.
So, Kate, do you want to hear a story?
Where are cats? Where are you gonna go?
Okay.
So, I do. One sec.
I'm sorry, you just woke up, so now I must bother you.
Sir, you are on my headphones. Please.
Oh.
Your little butt's on my cord. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Her face. I love your face. Why is your face so funny?
There we go.
I got you. Okay.
You can stay there. You're fine.
Nice. Welcome back.
Okay, I am back. Thanks. Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's true crime.
Ooh, I love our guessing game.
Yes.
That we play every episode. Is your story today true
The
crime
2000s.
or paranormal? True crime?
It's a popular.
What decade are we?
I feel
Gonna
like
take this
you
journey
would have
on
heard
together.
of it. Because the scenes that were the famous part about this is that
Is it one that I would know?
things happened live on the news.
Okay.
And I think it was Pennsylvania. They've made documentaries and movies about it. There's also a movie that's kind of based off of this with Jesse Eisenberg in it, and I'm I loved me some Jesse Eisenberg back in 2013. I love me some Jesse Eisenberg. I'm understandable.
This was 2013. I could think you to say. Blech. I'll take Andy Samberg. That's just me.
Pizza? Do you like pizza? You don't like pizza.
I think I need one more hint because I'm dumb. I've gotten to like it more as I got older. As I said in episode 19 that I edited today. Oh, you know this one obscure haunted place? Yes. Yes,
I'm
going to
do my story.
Do you know this infamous serial killer?
On
no, I do
the
not.
death of Brian Wells.
He
was also known as the Collar Bomb robbery guy. The guy who was the pizza delivery guy who became a hostage from delivering his pizza. He robbed so much money. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do know kind of about this one. Because me and Max, my brother, have been having our nightly Ghoulin game time, where we both sit on the couch, we play our Switches, and we watch ghost shows.
I'm like,
we've been recently just rewatching and binging all of BuzzFeed Unsolved.
I should have done more research on it. I don't do research. I'm just like, I find a story and I'm like, I'll find the gist of it. I'll read off of the Wikipedia page and get drunk and talk about it.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Here we are. Oopsies.
It's okay. I over-research. So we
August 28th, 2003.
One podcast.
That is where the story starts. Yep. There is a middle-aged pizza delivery guy named Brian Wells.
Oh, so
he walks into a PNC bank in Erie, Pennsylvania. He apparently had a short cane in his hand, and I believe they gave that cane to him because they made it into like a gun. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Right? And so he passes the teller note saying that he needs $250,000.
Wait, really?
But the teller's like, I can't
Okay.
give you that much money. Like, I'm new here. I don't have access to that much money. But like he like lifted his shirt to show like that he had a bomb, and he's like, I need money now. Yeah. Because like the thing is, they put our shirt on top of it. It was a guest shirt. Just to like cover everything.
Oh my god!
On top of like his regular like work outfit, I guess. So the teller pretty much filled a bag with cash. It was about $8,700, and then handed it over to him. And then like he left and drove off. About like 15 minutes later, that's when the cops came and stopped him, and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, what's this on your body?" Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like, he needed the $250,000, but then the people who were holding him hostage to, like, and put the bomb on him were like, to get this bomb off, you're going to have to do, like, this whole scavenger hunt. And that's how you're going to disarm the bomb. And so he went off to, like, his next spot, but, like, the cops got to him, and they're like, we don't know what to do about this. There was helicopters all around, like, watching this live, trying to see what's going on. And, like, the guy was, like, kind of calm at first, but then was like, there's a bomb on me. I can't take it off. I don't know. I have to do the scavenger hunt to disarm it. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to die if I don't get this bomb off of me, and I have to do this thing. Really? Interesting.
See, I love scavenger hunters as much as
I don't want to put in the effort for something I can just get.
I like the over excessiveness and the mystery and intrigue.
Yeah. But apparently, like, the police officers didn't call in the bomb squad for, like,
would not enjoy
almost, like,
version
15-30 minutes
of this.
And
though.
they are
less
so they're like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't trust this. But 3 minutes before the bomb squad arrived, that's when the bomb went off and killed Brian.
But really?
Yep. And it was on live television because, like, the helicopters with the news cameras were, like, watching everything, and, like, everyone was around trying to see what's going on. And so, like, his death was, like, on live television. And I'm like, that's nasty.
Shit.
Oh no, my phone. Yeah. Yeah, but like before he died, he was trying to say that like he was grabbed by a group of like black men and stuff, and that he was chained to the bomb at like gunpoint to do this stuff. Right? That's what I want to do. So yeah, I like left a giant gash in his chest, and it was nasty. So after that, like the cops went through his car to try to like find out what's going on. They find the notes for the scavenger hunt, and then they try to like go to the like to see like where the guy was supposed to, like where Brian Wells was supposed to go, and like if he can find out like hints and clues about who who the person in charge of this was, like the mastermind. So they get to. Have you ever seen 30 Minutes or Less?
This feels like a weird...
Because that has Jesse Eisenberg and Aziz Ansari.
Saw.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy's name.
Saw remake.
It's a funny ass movie. It's stupid as fuck. I love it. Yeah, I used to watch that. I used to watch that movie a lot when I was stoned. When I used to smoke. And I'd be like, man, I want pizza.
We have a movie night. Let's do that. The Omen.
Yeah. So they discovered the cane, the 2-foot long cane, which was the homemade gun in the car as well. And then they found the notes for the scavenger hunt, pretty much. And they tried to do the scavenger hunt to see if it was actually physically possible for someone to do it within the amount of time that he had, which I believe was about 30 minutes. And they're like, there's no way that someone could do this. And also, like, while they were trying to get to the next parts of it, like, the clues stopped. So it seemed like the person who was the mastermind was watching all of this and saw what happened and then just stopped it because, like, they killed a guy. And they're like, this is not worth it anymore. But it also seemed like there was a remote on it that, like, if he got caught, like, they were going to kill him anyways.
Holy shit.
And so they were like...
this was a timed bomb.
There was, like...
Oh, that's sad.
It seemed like it might have went off with the remote. I'm not... Because, like, it started beeping a lot, and that's when, like, he started freaking out.
Did they use the remote, or did it blow up at the time?
Because he said that he had, like, a certain amount of time, and, like, there was, like, letters in there saying, like, failure or disobedience would result in immediate death. So it seemed like
that's scary.
Either he did exactly what he was told, he'll get out, or if he tries to, like, get someone else involved and try to, like, figure out a way to get the bomb off, they're just gonna blow him up. So let's see. Yeah, so they also were, like, confused by, like, he was wearing, like, the guest shirt on top, and they're like, maybe this was because, like, he just was leaving work before he got the call for this order, and so he did that delivery last, like, right before going home, and they, like, put this guest shirt on, and it seemed like the masterminds were kind of just being like, you have to guess who we are, like, you can't find me, you can't see me. Yeah. Like a Riddler kind of question mark.
I'm sorry, was this like a brand name
kind of situation?
Okay, I was personally imagining like Sharpie.
Yeah, so like
on the t-shirt.
They were just like, what the fuck is going on here? And so like in like Erie, they were just like, we don't understand what's happening. We don't get what's going on. So like they were investigating this for about 7 years, at least 7 years trying to figure out like what happened. And so the investigators went to the pizza parlor that Wells worked at, and trying to figure out the timeline and figure out exactly where he went for the delivery and who lives around there and what could have happened. Probably. I don't know. But they went to the delivery location.
Like a phone number.
It was pretty much a TV transmission site, so just like a giant radio tower that was in between like a car sales place and stuff, and it was like on a busy road. And behind it, there was another house, and they're like, we can't find anything here, just some like footsteps, markings and stuff. So we know that there was like people here, and like that someone did actually put this on Brian Wells, and he didn't just strap on his own bomb and just say this shit happened. So like one of the investigators talked to the guy that lives in the house behind it, and he didn't really get too much from it, just that like this is a eloquent, smart guy that was just like, I don't know what's going on, man, you know, whatever. So like they were just confused for a long time about it. But it was about less than a month later, they get there was a 911 phone call from that house. So the owner of the house, he called in to say that there was a dead body in his freezer. Completely, quote unquote, completely unrelated to the situation. So the investigators behind the Collar Bomb Incident are like, I ain't paying attention to this. The police can worry about this. Because the guy, his ex-girlfriend was like, I had to kill this man, get rid of his body. And he like got rid of most of the evidence. He melted down the weapon that was used, but he couldn't, for the life of him, actually get rid of the body. And so he's like, I was going to kill myself. I wrote a suicide note about it and stuff. And so like he took the body, he was arrested. And in the note, he's all like, this is unrelated to the Collar Bomb. Yes. The note opened with a curious disclaimer. This has nothing to do with the Wells case.
Did he like specifically?
So yeah. Just so you know, this has nothing to do with that. No.
You know when you're completely unrelated and you're like, hey.
Right? You're like,
no.
Okay. No. Well, you know what? The investigators are like, well, thank you for like not wasting our time. Now we don't have to worry about you and try to connect this to that because it obviously this isn't connected. Right? So
is he being incriminating or considerate?
The homeowner, I can't remember his name, Bill Rothstein.
I wonder.
He explained that he received the phone call in mid-August, like from his ex-girlfriend Marjorie Deal Armstrong, who he had dated in the 60s and 70s, and she told him that she shot her live-in boyfriend James Roden in the back with a Remington 12-gauge shotgun in a dispute over money. Right? Yeah, it's always over money. And then 2000. Yeah. Right?
I they're gonna say the butt.
Like, my ex-girlfriend doesn't talk
money,
to me. I'm like,
so they dated back in the 60s and 70s. So they must have kept in contact. This is weird.
Yeah, she lives in France now. I think she's still married. I don't know. We don't talk anymore.
It's in France.
Exactly. So yeah, they apparently fought over money. She killed him. And then Rothstein did what she asked, but
you got better, bigger things going on.
Actually, go through with getting rid of the body, so that's why he called it in. Because he was afraid of what what Marjorie would do to him. So he was like, I'd rather be arrested and like be in prison for this than deal with whatever she would do to me. Yeah. So
she's like the dark horse in all of this.
September 21st, the day after Rothstein had called 911.
Unexpected player
Dale
arrived.
Armstrong was arrested for the murder of Roden. And about 16 months later, in 2005, she had pleaded guilty but mentally ill and was sentenced to 7 to 20 years in state prison for that. Right. By that time, Rothstein had he given up everything he knew about her. He's like, I don't have feelings about her anymore. I'm not gonna do anything for her. And he had died in 2004 of lymphoma. Yeah. It's rough. So during this time,
God damn.
The investigators on the Wells Collar Bomb Incident still aren't connecting dots here. They're like, we don't know. So it was in April 2005. They got a phone call from the state police officer who had just met with Dale Armstrong.
I'm not connecting dots. I'm
about
excited
the
to see where
unrelated
this goes.
homicide. The one that she did. And then Rothstein's suicide note assumed was a lie, that Dale Armstrong had said that Roden's murder had everything to do with the collar bomb incident with the Wells' death. Right? So when they met with her, she had told them that if they could arrange a transfer,
that
like,
little
she'll
rascal.
talk.
He said it had nothing to do.
I'm like, even before she was arrested for killing Roden, Marjorie Dale Armstrong, she already had a reputation. Because she's already had a string of dead lovers before him. Interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. So in 1984... when she was 35, she was charged with murdering her boyfriend at the time, Robert Thomas.
This thick-ass plot. Oh my...
She said that she shot him 6 times in self-defense. Okay. I'm like, I don't know why you need to shoot someone 6 times for self-defense. Yeah. And like 2 is enough. Yeah. And then 4 years later, her husband, Richard Armstrong, died of cerebral hemorrhage. They said that second death was accidental. Like, it was ruled accidental. So they don't know for sure if she had something to do with it or not. But they just, like, let it go. I'm like, who's to say that she didn't do anything with, like, medications or not? Or whatever she could have forced on? I don't know.
Can you cause cerebral hemorrhages?
Yeah. Yeah. But it also shows that he had a head injury when he arrived at the hospital. So maybe who caused the hemorrhaging? We don't know. 500 on this bitch here. So, like, growing up, Marjorie,
yes,
she was
500
known to be really
bitch.
smart. She was valedictorian. And she had an encyclopedic knowledge of literature, history, and the law. Yeah. But it seemed that according to court records, she had suffered from bipolar disorder, and so she had a lot of mood swings and was unable to control her nonstop, rapid fire speech. So, like, I feel like it could have been, like, a like, she wasn't able to take care of herself as well as she should have been at that time, which is sad. Because, like, she was found to also have been, like, very, like, paranoid and narcissistic. And, like, 1984, they had found, like, 400 pounds of butter and more than 700 pounds of cheese, nearly all rotting inside of her home. Like, she was deemed mentally incompetent 7 times before a judge. before she was fit to be tried for the Thomas case, which was the first boyfriend who died.
I'm sorry. How?
I don't want to think about it. Just thinking.
I'm so sorry. How much? What was the
just
physical
against the
volume of
wall.
700 pounds of cheese? I'm trying to.
Just mass.
Is it bad that I'm imagining like Kraft singles
Yes.
stacked up? I think I've been playing too much Animal Crossing, so I'm imagining like, oh, the DIY for the Kraft singles wall. Yes, I know that one.
Relatable.
Did you see that post? It was like,
yeah.
Oh, the person doing their Instagram.
So this is just pretty much
like,
talking
already
about
have this.
who
like,
she is as a
I have
person.
This in Animal Crossing, not in real
smart,
life.
Calculating, Kraft singles, paranoid, narcissistic person. And so they're like,
Kraft single gal, okay.
She might be the kind of person to come up with a master plan to come up with a collar bomb. Maybe. Who knows? She seems like she might be able to connect some sort of dots here. Who knows? She is very smart.
I didn't even connect that. Oh my god.
Who? Could have been the ex-boyfriend that she was trying to use
have any history in like
get rid of the body, who also melted the weapons that she used in the murder of James Roden, who was an eloquent man who lived behind the tower where apparently Brian Wells was taken hostage and had a collar fit on him with a bomb. Who knows? Because he died before they can ask. Not even that. They didn't have enough time to ask Rothstein before he died of lymphoma.
3 minutes. Too late.
Yeah.
They're really
when
it's not on their side in this case.
Marjorie Diehl Armstrong, when she had met with the federal investigators for a series of interviews, she had first insisted that she was not in any way involved in the plot of the collar bomb. She admitted that she knew about it, that she had supplied the kitchen timers that were used in the bombs, and that she was within a mile of the bank at the time of the robbery. But she also said that Wells, the dead pizza delivery guy, was not a victim, but had been part of the plan, had been in on the plan.
You know when your soup just is a little thin and so you add some cornstarch? This is
like me when I mix drinks.
You've taken that tub of cornstarch. You're like, I don't need no measuring cup. No. And then you pour it and the lid falls off. That is the spot.
So she said also Rothstein, the ex-boyfriend, the one who turned her in, was part of the plan as well. And she said that he was the mastermind behind it. Interesting. I'm like, who knows? So even though she was pointing all these fingers at Rothstein, who's already dead, she was already implicating herself in the situation. They're like, fuck yourself over here, ma'am. And so they met with her like a couple of different, more, I think it was 4 different times. The investigators met with 4 separate informants who revealed that Diehl Armstrong, Marjorie, she had talked about the crime in intimate detail. Like, she knew all about it. She was proud of this thing. This was her baby. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't her baby, but she was talking about it. A bit of a narcissist, perhaps. A Kraft.
Sounding kind of the words of a mastermind.
It's a little too cheesy for my liking.
A Kraft singles gal.
In late 2005, a few months later, the investigators received another break in the case when a witness comes forward to say that an ex-television repairman turned crack dealer. I'm sorry. He was also involved, and so he was an old fishing buddy of Dale Armstrong and had spoken too freely about the plan. Okay. And his brother-in-law had turned him in while Barnes was already in jail on unrelated drug charges. So he was in jail, and his brother was all like, I know he's talked about it. I'm going to tell the cops about how he knows shit about this. And he's all like, oh, yeah, like, we would go fishing. She told me all about her plans to, like, do all this shit. So Barnes confirmed that that Dale Armstrong was the mastermind behind it. And so he claimed that she needed the cash so she could pay to have her father killed. Because right? You need $250,000 to go get a hitman on your dad because he's blowing up your inheritance money, and you're like, I need that money.
Because excuse me?
For my Kraft singles wall! Right? I'm all like, just steal the money for yourself then. Like, why you gotta kill someone else?
I can't with this girl. Oh my god, okay.
But, like, she's like, we gotta murder this man and get this money, and then murder this man so I can get that money instead. What? Anyways.
Seems like she's perfectly adept at
so killing his she is expecting to inherit this money. But, like, from what I read, I don't know if I put it in here, but, like, the dad was like, no, she wasn't going to get my money anyways, and I'm already spending it. Like, she's not touching this shit. So, like, even if she did it, it would have backfired on her. So Barnes said that he was kept in the dark about several aspects of the plot, but, like, he was able to give enough to the investigators to know, like, kind of get, like, the big picture about this. So on February 10th, 2006, the federal agents met again with Dale Armstrong, who brought her attorney. The agents told her that they had enough evidence to bring indictment against her, and she went crazy about it. She was like, fuck this shit. Like, no. Like, she was cursing out the agents and her lawyer, but she kept talking to them. So she pretty much, like, even agreed to, like, drive around Erie with them to point out where she was on the day that Wells robbed the bank. And at the conclusion of the drive, or, like, at the end of it, she had admitted to being at several locations linked to the crime. She had also told the agents that she wouldn't provide any more information without receiving an immunity letter. And I'm like, girl, you should have asked for that first. You already gave out too much. Right? But she's a narcissist. She wants to talk about it. That's the thing with these people. They always want to, they're like, oh, I know so much. Like, I wasn't involved in this, but, like, I was here. Smart. Let me show you where I was. I have a perfect view of everything. Let's get our popcorn. Welcome to my cribs of my mastermind plan.
Welcome to
I used the butter to cement the cheese to my wall.
Here's my crafting wall.
But yeah, like, she already said way too much shit, so they're like, we can't give you immunity. Like, fuck you. So yeah, pretty much in 2007 they indicted
I think you're right.
She's going to jail. She's going to court for this.
Indict?
Pretty much from all the information that they were
Indicted.
They were able.
I think
Words, they're hard. They had enough evidence and enough. They've had enough interviews with other people to be able to pull
empty,
enough
no
information
thoughts.
to say, hey, like, we can put you on trial for this. They were able to put the indictment charges that Wells was in on the crime as well from the beginning. They were able to decipher. I don't think decipher is the right word. Infer that Wells was supposed to wear a fake bomb throughout the robbery, but on the day of the robbery, when he got to the place where he was supposed to deliver the pizza and, you know, to get taken and whatever, they actually had a real bomb instead. And so instead of being a guy who was in on the plan, he actually did become a hostage of the situation because he's like, fuck this, I don't want to do this. But they had a gun, and they were like, no, you gotta fucking wear this stupid bomb and like do this shit now. Like, it's real. Yeah, my eyelash is coming off. My eyelash is like out. I want to break free.
Holy shit.
It is. They do not want to stay.
It wants to break.
But yeah.
It wants to break free.
They were like, it was supposed to be a fake bomb, and they were supposed to have like those letters for the scavenger hunt to be like, it was a ruse, and like that, like, throw off everyone from like what actually was going to happen. But it was a real bomb, and he actually did have to like try to do the scavenger hunt now to actually get the bomb off of him. But like I said before, there was no way that he was actually going to physically be able to do that scavenger hunt with enough time before it went off. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying.
But yeah, like Wells' family, they were not very supportive of this idea. They're like, he would never do that. Like, why would he do that? But he's a 38-year-old pizza delivery guy who apparently was seeing a prostitute. And my notes then, like, he got to get money because like there was a big issue with like he owed a lot of money, and that's why he was in on this plan to get money from it. But since he's already been dead for a while, like, I can't for sure say that was actually the truth. That's what they were able to infer and get like from the interviews that they've had with people. That's like what they decide was most likely his reason for being part of this. Who knows? Yeah, there's so many different layers. It's like, man, if only these two people weren't dead, maybe we'd know so much more.
Yeah,
definitely so weird. Pretty much. Let's see. Where was I? Because I like Barnes, who was already in prison or already in jail for a different drug case. He pleaded guilty in September 2008 to the conspiracy and the weapon charges involved with the Collar Bomb plot. So he was sentenced to 45 years behind bars, but he agreed to testify against Dale Armstrong in the hope of getting his sentence reduced. And then more evidence was collected of the investigation, like the components of the collar bomb and the directions leading to the doomed victim to an orange taped container in the woods. They used that to kind of show that where I'm like, I wrote these notes like forever ago, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot where it was. Of like that, like pretty much what I said before about like how like Brian Wells was like doomed from the beginning and stuff, and like they were able to put Dale Armstrong up on trial, but it took a while because in 2010 I think that was a couple years before or a couple years after Neil Armstrong was ruled to be mentally unfit to stand trial. By the time that she was mentally fit for it, she was already diagnosed with glandular cancer. And so, like, they had to, like, even put it on hold because of that. And finally, in August 2010, Neil Armstrong was sentenced
God.
Had 3 to 7 years to... Oh, wait, no, never mind. The doctors said in 2010, from August 2010, that she only had 3 to 7 years to live. But they had pressed on. The trial was rescheduled for October by that time. So, like, she didn't have much time left, but they're still going to try to get her the justice made for her. Like, this was not for her. Anyways, they're trying to get justice for this situation. Yeah. So, let's see. I do not care about this.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, because it's pretty much about, like, how Barnes was, like, the main witness for all of this. But Neil Armstrong, Barnes had said that she devised a plan and enlisted a few co-conspirators to help carry it out. Rothstein was one of them, the man who lived behind the TV tower, who had the dead body in his house. He was one of them. Wells was another, lured out with the promise of the payday. And then Barnes was also part of it. But in the weeks before the robbery, Wells fell into debt with a crack dealer, and that's why they said that it was because of Barnes's testimony that they have that theory that, like, oh, he was seeing a prostitute, oh, he was getting his money, like, he was falling into money problems because of, like, the crack and shit. But I don't know. We don't know. I don't want to say that was his thing because, like, his family's like, that doesn't sound like him. Okay. But this is what people... Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to put words into a dead man's mouth. Unless it's, like, Ted Bundy. Like, he can suck dick.
You can't confirm or deny.
Not the good kind. Yeah. And then pretty much just saying, like, how, like, Wells was, like, double-crossed and the bomb was real.
Not the good kind. They
just locked the device on him. But during that time, like, Neil Armstrong was, like, super angry about it. And, like, still, the 8th day of trial, like, Neil Armstrong actually, like, went up on... Not stage. She went on the stand, yeah. So for 5.5 hours over 2 days, she was on the witness stand.
The stand?
And she just, like, ridiculed her lawyer and belittled the prosecutor and all this stuff. Saying, like, trying to, like, say, like, this is bullshit. Like, if this is all you've got, like, there is no reason for me to be here. Like, this is stupid. She was first trying to say that she never met Brian Wells. She never knew him. And that she only became aware of him on the day that he died. And that she saw him on the news. But, like, beforehand, she had already said things that, like, said that she knew him. So, yeah. So the jury, after deliberating for 11 hours, they returned guilty verdicts on all 3 charges.
Keep your story straight.
And so she was put to have a mandatory life term when she was sentenced on February 28th. Let's see. There's a lot of... I don't remember. She's old. She's old, and she has cancer. But I think she's dead now. I think I put that in here. I can't remember.
How old was she at the time?
Because, yeah, she died of...
I was saying, like, she's...
cancer. Sometime. I don't remember. Anyways, pretty much, that's the story of that. Like, there's some people that are like, I fucking there's like so many holes in the story that they're like, it doesn't feel like everything's been connected completely. Yeah, but like they're not really going to get more information out of the story now because so many people have died with those secrets with them. But yeah. And like in 2004, one of the main guys that was in it,
something on those
in 2003, one of the main guys with the bomb on him died. And in 2004, one of the other main guys, who was probably a mastermind behind it, who wrote a suicide note that first said, "This does not connect with the Collar Bomb plot," died. We'll never know. Like,
it's one of those frustrating ones where, like,
the thing is like, we know for a fact that Marjorie
we are
definitely had a giant big plot in it. Like, she'd definitely
13
had the plans. She definitely came up with the plan for it. Whether she was the one who built those items for this plan to go through,
yes,
or like came up with all the small details, we'll never know. But that's mostly because of the people that were involved. What's his name? Roden, the boyfriend that she killed that was involved in it. Rothstein, the ex-boyfriend who died the year after it happened. And Brian Wells, who died during the plot of it all. We'll never know. Like, there's so many things that happen that, like, we can never truly connect those dots with until, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever be able to connect those dots, but it's safe to say that she definitely deserves life in prison for it.
I'd say she's like, it's a safe bet to say she's like the biggest chunk.
That's a lot of Kraft.
Yes.
Maybe if we can
with her Kraft
make
single
a
cell
cheese sculpture. I don't know. Anyways, it's a very confusing story. I loved it. There were so many layers to it. I was like, what? Wait,
so good,
what?
Though.
And I'm like, why are they dead? I want to know more.
Thick ass plot. God damn.
And we may never know more.
What?
Ooh, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a little tarot card reading with it at some point.
You may. I like how you said recommendation request. I'm like, wait.
See, do you have a song recommendation request?
Just go with it.
Rick.
Why not?
You know what? I decided to lean into it now.
I can follow this
might
playlist.
As well.
Okay.
Yeah, might as well make it our thing. Why
what
not?
I listened to recently.
Me being a dumbass? It's more likely than you think.
Spotify, that. So, actually, this quarantine, I've been getting a lot into Doom. The video game. Yeah. I wanted to buy Doom Eternal, but I'm like, am I going to fish out all that money if I don't like the game? But I'm like, it's one of the best shooters.
Okay.
Drake is one of the best shooters of this year, so I'm like, maybe. But I was like, I saw the old 2016 version of Doom, like the remake of the first one, that was for like $8, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get that. But to make me like feel better while I'm playing it and like getting demolished by all these like aliens and like hellspawn demons, I've been listening to a lot of Twice, which is a K-pop group. And so every time I play and I'm in hell and I'm trying to like kill all these demon shit, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna play Fancy by Twice.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't watch enough music
that's the one
videos
that
to
Alex
do like
likes.
the
It's like
dance moves and
fancy.
stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't dance.
Shoot,
But that's my song.
I can't do it.
Fancy
She
by
can.
Twice.
Shoot. Yeah.
Unless I've already done that.
Me neither. So you do
Okay.
Fancy by Twice. I'm gonna give you. I just checked the Tipsy Tunes playlist. I have not seen that one. So, I'm gonna give you a good old classic because I was thinking about the opening scene. The opening scene
I need to rewatch
in Kingsman 2
and Kingsman
where it's the
2.
car chase
Kingsman
and they're
2
playing
was
Let's Go
good.
Crazy. Someone do Let's Go Crazy by Prince. That's a fun one. And I love that scene. He's like punching the guy and
we should do that.
let's go crazy. Let's go nuts. Oh, yeah.
You want to watch some Kingsman?
It was good. Can we have a little watchy party? Little watchy?
Anyways, if you like this, you should follow us on our social medias and talk to us in our emails. Yeah. It's you can email us if you want to share some stories at tipsymysteries@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter at Tipsy Mysteries. You can also do that on Facebook. I don't know if we still do that. I'm like, I understand. It's rough.
I'm trying to get back on it. Thank you. Yeah. If you guys want to hear our
it's a very
cool
short,
bonus
sweet little episode, I think it's very fun.
Leave us an iTunes review and then email us, and we will send that your way. It's very fun.
That's true. I cry when I see any review, and I'm like, ooh,
short and sweet.
Okay,
very cool. We'll also cry if you just leave us a review in general. So
yes, hopefully this is helping.
Woo! We love you guys. Hope you're staying safe and sane. Hope you're getting. I'm gonna send good vibes that you won't get a sea bass next time you fish in Animal Crossing, or a fucking horse mackerel. I'm sick of horse mackerels.
I try to catch bugs and just dig up fossils.
They're only worth 150 bells. I hate horse mackerel.
I wish there was more scorpions showing up because I'm like, I need all the scorpions.
I have a hard time catching bugs. I'll try and sneak up on them and I always scare them.
I hope they don't attack you. Yeah.
I pray that you guys find a red snapper or an
wear a mask,
or if you find
use
a scorpion
protection
or or an Atlas butterfly. There we go. Do you have any parting words of advice, my dear friend?
Yeah.
Wear a mask.
Be safe out there. Be careful.
Wear a dick jacket.
Yeah. We are queer.
I think that's it from us.
Yeah.
So, guys, be safe. Y'all need to talk. We're here. We're queer.
See ya.
We are queer. We like Animal Crossing. Come play Animal Crossing.
Bye.
Fun time. Yes, I think we'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye.